I am honored to be here this morning as you commemorate Women's Month at the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office. Choosing a speaker whose advocacy is women, peace and security indicates to me that there is interest in knowing the situation of women in peace and conflict. Have you ever asked yourselves what peace is? Let's start by looking at different peace symbols. This sign, for example, which automatically you flash when you are called to do wacky poses. Do we know what it means? Did we know that it was a peace sign? Yes, this is the letter V, which stands for victory, or victory from war. A sign that was flashed by people such as Winston Churchill celebrating the end of the war, that war was no more. Let us look at another symbol, and this is the circle. You know, the circle with these thingy. You know, there are actually two letters inside that circle, and these are the letters N and D. Would you know the meaning of those letters? They stand for nuclear disarmament. This symbol became known after a group of people gathered together in protest of the nuclear weapons that were dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which claimed nearly 200,000 lives. Hence, for many people, peace means not only the end of war, but the absence of catastrophic weapons such as nuclear bombs. How about the flags with many colors? Did you know that it was also a symbol of peace? It represented the different colors of the rainbow, which means harmony in diversity. That people may come from different religions, culture, or ethnicity, but they can live together in harmony. For others then, peace means unity in diversity. Indeed, friends at PVAO, peace is no simple concept. It does not only mean the absence of war and other forms of direct violence, such as crimes, but the presence of well-being. Unfortunately, peace is very elusive. There are so many challenges that obstruct us from getting there. According to estimates, for example, made by Amnesty International, 250,000 people die every year from armed conflict situations, and another 300,000 die from non-armed conflict situations, such as criminal situations. That means more than 1,500 people in the world die every day from armed violence. In the Philippines, from January to September 2009, there were 6,000 counts of murder and 3,000 counts of homicide, according to the Philippine National Police. That means that 33 people have died from murder and homicide on a daily basis in that year. In the 2015 Global Peace Index, Philippines was among the least peaceful countries, placing 141 out of 162 countries ranked. The Global Peace Index is measured by the Institute of Economics and Peace with offices in Sydney and New York. If you are a tourist, let me ask you, would you visit a country which ranks 141 in terms of peacefulness? You'll probably visit the first 20 in that rank. As war veterans know how it is to fight in a war or live in a situation of war, I surmise that finding pathways to build a culture of peace is so that we do not see war again is part of the veterans' dream. Another challenge to peace is structural violence. Structural violence pertains to institutions, systems, policies that meet the needs of a few at the expense of the majority. One glaring effect of such kind of violence is poverty. Every day throughout the world, 28,000 children die because of poverty and poverty-related causes, according to the World Health Organization. In the Philippines, 32.9% of the population are considered poor. There is no peace in the midst of poverty. Each day, too, throughout the world, people are killed because of hate, as they differ from the majority in terms of ethnicity, religion, sex, and ideology, among others. In 2014, for example, friends, there were 29 armed conflicts waged in the world according to Project Plowshares, with hatred or fear of differences such as ethnicity and religion fueling many of these wars. In a world like this, we need to build a culture of peace. What is a culture of peace? A culture of peace is one that reflects respect for life and for human rights. It is the rejection of violence, the fulfillment of basic needs, the enjoyment of fundamental freedoms. It is a culture where there is democratic participation, intercultural understanding, care for the earth, and respect for equal rights of women and men. But in building a culture of peace, something is amiss. For example, most peace negotiation tables are dominated by men. Government, which makes decisions on conflict and peace, are also dominated by men. Hence, in this Women's Month, we ask, where are the women? In the world, only 11% of them are heads of states. Only 8% are in peace negotiations. Only 3% of women have signed peace agreements. When we comprise 50% of the world's population. Again, I ask, where are the women? Society relegates them to vulnerability. They are often referred to as the victims, the ones who are afraid, the ones who are insecure, traumatized, abused, and displaced. Though victimization is a fact, women as agency of peace is also a lived reality. In situations of armed conflict throughout the world, women have acted also as peace advocates, negotiators, mediators, as values formators, as healers and reconcilers, as evacuation center managers, as relief operations coordinators, as facilitators of dialogues, or as emissaries to warring parties. This role of women in preventing conflicts, in keeping the peace, and in peace building has been recognized by various instruments such as the Beijing Platform for Action and more recently, UN Security Council Resolution 1325. Friends, UNSCR 1325 mandates member states to increase women's participation in peace processes, recognizing that world peace is a goal that cannot be done by men alone. It calls on member states for gender balance at all levels of decision-making, ensuring that women's voices count. In 2010, the Philippines adopted a national action plan on women, peace, and security with similar goals. Number 1, to ensure the protection of women's human rights and prevention of the violation of these rights in armed conflict and post-conflict situations. Number 2, to empower women and ensure their active and meaningful participation in areas of peace building, peacekeeping, conflict prevention, conflict resolution, and post-conflict reconstruction. Number 3, to promote and mainstream gender perspective in all aspects of conflict prevention, conflict resolution, and peace building. However, friends, 6 years after the adoption of the NAP on Women, Peace, and Security, we still ask, where are the women? Participation and representation remain a challenge, especially in communities where cultural and religious practices restrain women's inclusion. You won't believe it, friends. I've been to places where the men asked me, why would you want the women to be there? You know, they're so emotionally unstable. When they have their monthly periods, you know, they're kind of erratic emotionally. I have received comments like, why would you want women to be there? You know, their voice is just so seductive it will prevent the man from thinking straight. You know, we got comments such as those that kind of, affected us deeply. And another problem that we have is not only the men's resistance to women's leadership, women's internalization also that they only play a secondary role in nation building is another challenge that we face as women peace advocates. But one of the bigger challenges would be stereotype, prejudice, and discrimination against women. Pangbahay lang is how many put it. But denying the women the chance to be heard and to participate is violence. Violence of marginalization. Their absence from decision-making space is violence. That's violence of invisibility. It's time, friends, to highlight what women have done to prevent conflict and build peace and security. It's time that we make women count to prevent violence, including violence against women, and build peace. I urge you, friends, at PVAO to make that happen. To make that happen. Do women count in here or in other spaces where you are? Are women in decision-making process in this institution? We want peace, don't we? Let women count with Ben in building it. Marami pong salamat at happy Women's Month to everyone.